Hello and welcome to the Abundology podcast. My name is Renee Spears and I'm a spirit guide channeler and spiritual life and business mentor. And I help people be happy and attract more money, love, time, and joy in their lives. I'm coming to you from Bozeman, Montana, and this is the weekly energy update for the week of October 2nd, 2022. Every Sunday, I talk about how the energy is going to be for the week ahead, and I also infuse the show with some positive vibes, so you get a little positive energy boost just for listening. And happy October! I know I say this every month, but can you believe it's October already? So according to numerology, October 2022 is a 7 universal month. So as the year closes out, this month moves in to slow us all down. We've made huge forward progress this year, and October is a time to rest, reflect, and recharge. And this is a pivotal time in the year. Yet it may not actually feel like it because the number 7 tends to do its work on the inside and affects your spiritual health. So this is a month of inner learning, personal development, and spiritual growth. It's your time to lean into your truth and ask some of those big questions that you may have been avoiding up until now. So the energy of this month supports some real soul searching. And not just because it's a fun way to pass your time, but finding your purpose, or at least starting to seek it, is the foundation upon which everything else in your life stands. So once you know your purpose, everything else in life falls into place. And this is a prime time to dig deep and figure some stuff out. And I've seen this multiple times this week with clients getting messages right now that it's time to do what they came here to do in this lifetime. So during a 7 universal month, we all tend to need a little more time alone. So if you do have other people around, just make sure your time together is deep and healing and nourishing, and stay away from anyone toxic. So October's astrology is the most dramatic of 2022. We've had 6 planets retrograde, and this month 3 of them, Mercury, Saturn, and Pluto, all stationed direct. And we've got a solar eclipse coming up at the end of the month, Mars retrograde, plus that astrological earthquake of the Saturn-Uranus back in a square, and Halloween. So there are lots of moving parts and shifting energies, making it hard to plan anything concrete. The only constant this month is change. And that's why we want to balance out all of this shizzle happening with resting and recharging. So the good news, and the news that everybody's been waiting for, is that Mercury retrograde finally ends today as Mercury goes direct. So after almost a month of Mercury being retrograde and all the communication mix-ups, the travel issues, that never-ending restlessness feeling, Mercury retrograde has finally come to an end, but that doesn't mean the show is all the way over. There's a couple more little twists. So when Mercury stations, that means it's stopping and it's shifting directions, either when it goes retrograde or it goes direct. These are the peak times of the Mercury retrograde side effects, like today. You might have the phone issues today. There might be a couple issues today. That's okay. One day we can deal with that. And then this station of Mercury will be forming an opposition with Neptune, which is the planet of illusion. So this is a connection that only happens once a year, and this year it just happens to coincide with the end of Mercury retrograde, which intensifies it. So this opposition can have us feeling paranoid and maybe bring some drama, but it's not all bad. This energy also can give us moments of incredible creativity. So the way to make this time the positive, forward-thinking vibe we need is to reflect on your goals before you take action. Don't rush. Just pace yourself. Instead, allow your mind to process what has been going on the last month during the Mercury retrograde. Pay attention to anything you've learned about yourself, and then use these realizations to change. So this week in particular is about reflecting on your growth and your transformation. And we do get additional help with that when Pluto also stations direct. So Pluto has been retrograde for 5 months. And during that time, our fears came out to play. So we're now ready to confront those fears and take action to work through them. So these fears have been holding us back from living our fullest lives, and they often come up when we're finally acknowledging our life purpose. And this is the time to bust through our upper limits. So the upper limit problem is a term that's coined by Gay Hendricks in the book, The Big Leap. I may have referenced this book before. I think it's fabulous. And it goes something like this. We each have a limit on how much abundance, success, and love we think we're deserving of. It's like we each have our own thermostat settings for these things. Now, this thermostat setting depends on a number of things. It could be our upbringing, limiting beliefs that we might have been told, fears that we may have, things that were told to us growing up. But once you cross this self-imposed threshold, whatever you unconsciously think is your appropriate level of success, abundance, and love, you will suddenly self-sabotage. And you do it unconsciously. We all do this. And it may look like getting sick once you achieve a big milestone. You may pick a fight with your partner or your coworker. You might hurt yourself on the way to a big event or get in a car accident. There's just a number of ways this self-sabotage might show up. But it's designed to pull you back to your normal comfort zone. So this limit is very problematic if you're looking to grow in your life and experience great love, great success, great abundance. So what do you do about an upper limit problem? Okay, first thing, pay attention. When something significantly positive happens in your personal or your professional life, notice that there might be the tendency to self-sabotage. So if you feel about to make a rash decision, to pick a fight, or to engage in some other behavior that might derail you, just stop. Now, just being aware that this might happen is enough to know that. You just stop. The second thing is to pause and express gratitude after achieving a big win. We don't do this in our society. We need time to let it land, to take it all in. Often it feels too good to allow ourselves to fully feel it. But that's how we expand. That's how we raise our upper limit, by feeling it. And the rest and the reflection and the recharging part of October helps us with that. Third thing is we pay it forward. We want to take stock of our wins, our successes, how our abundance helps others. It's much easier for many of us to step into our higher selves when we think about how it supports others. So if you feel yourself self-sabotaging or even thinking you're not good enough or you don't deserve it, remember the 3 Ps. Pay attention so you don't self-sabotage. Pause and let it land. And then 3, pay it forward. So I recorded a podcast with Kaylin Huntress on overcoming imposter syndrome last week. So one of the things we talked about is feeling uncomfortable is proof that you're growing. So letting it in, letting it land, that, man, this is a really great thing, that often feels uncomfortable. Proof that we're growing, proof that we're moving, that abundance level, that upper limit level. He shares a lot of great info about imposter syndrome, so that podcast is definitely worth a listen. And we get even more help to confront and bust through our fears next Sunday when we have a full moon in Aries. And we'll talk more about that next week. So relationships remain a theme in October, with Venus traveling very close to the sun during the entire month. So most of the month, this happens in Libra, a sign that Venus rules, and this makes the love vibes even stronger. So Venus in Libra is by far the highlight of our month, and it helps heal any wounds or fears in our relationships. And Libra season is all about focusing on relationships and partnerships, romantically, friendly, and professionally. We're making new friends. New romantic relationships are starting. This is just a season of love. So to recap, this is a month of inner learning, personal development, spiritual growth, and relationships. We are confronting any fears and we're busting through those bitches to live our life purpose. So pay attention so you don't self-sabotage, pause and let your success land, and then pay it forward. Just take this month slow, giving yourself time to rest and reflect, to balance out all of that intense inner work that we're doing. And that's it for the week. This Wednesday is the next Abundology Academy on developing your spiritual gifts. And we all have these, and maybe this is the time to bust through that belief that you don't have it and embrace them instead. So there's still time to sign up, and I'll put a link in the show notes, or you can go to my website, Abundology.com. I also want to thank all of you for my most successful sale ever. It was fabulous. Thank you, thank you. I'm overwhelmed with your support. And then one more thing. This little boutique podcast that I do, it made the U.S. Apple charts in the spirituality category last week. That is a big deal because I don't really do any promoting or advertising or any of that. So it's just word of mouth. So I really thank you for listening and passing this podcast on to a friend you think may find value in it. It's working. I appreciate that. So enjoy this week. Take some time, go slow, bust through those upper limit problems, and I'll talk to you again next week.